There's a manipulation tactic narcissists use that most people never recognize because it never looks like manipulation. It's called triangulation.
For another video in the series, The Psychology of Manipulation. And as you heard in the first clip, I'll play it again for those of you that may have missed it.
There's a manipulation tactic narcissists use that most people never recognize because it never looks like manipulation. It's called triangulation.
Triangulation. Now, in this series, we are going over several different pieces of arsenal the manipulator, the narcissist, may use in the psychology of manipulation. And for those of you that have been following me, thank you so very much for the engagement and watching the videos and the feedback. I appreciate each and every one of you. We are going over several different forms of manipulation, and we have already covered manipulation, gaslighting, love bombing, guilt tripping. Now we are on triangulation. So, for those of you that would like to catch up, you can visit the video entitled Gaslighting, Love Bombing, and Guilt Tripping. If you like this content and this series, please let me know by dropping a like. And if you're new here, welcome. And I would like if you would consider subscribing and also leaving your comments. Now, before we continue, let me put up my disclaimer. This video series is for educational purposes only and is not, I repeat, is not a substitute for professional advice, for I am not a member of the medical profession. Now, this is just some research that I am passing on to you. So, without further delay, we are going to get right into triangulation. What is triangulation? It refers to the subtle or direct form of manipulating others by creating and maintaining. Manipulators, narcissists thrive according to research. And as always, I implore you to do your research on this topic. That there is so much out there that you can go to cross-reference or to garner more information. I myself enjoy psychology today, so you'll hear me reference that a lot. But these narcissists, these manipulators, they thrive on conflict, on drama. One person, keep in mind, when you're looking at triangulation, tri means three. So keep that in mind. Typically orchestrates this form of manipulation. Their goal is to avoid the direct interactions by pitting two people together against one. So instead of the two of them having issues to try to hash out, they'll bring in another. The strategy is often used in a roundabout way to make themselves feel worthy. It says or, but I'm going to say and or loved. Triangulation, again, if I want to hone this in, is when a narcissist, and I'm going to do a bonus video, so look forward to that later on tonight. It may be late tonight, but I'm going to give you all a bonus video. Is when a narcissist brings in a third person to the conflict. to something you're already trying to deal with, to manipulate, to change, to shift the narrative, to move the goalpost, as we've heard mentioned so many times before. That they make you or try to make you look weak or crazy. And then before you know it, suddenly it's no longer just the two of you. It's everyone else that they will try to drag in to this game, this conflict. So, without further delay, we're going to get into triangulation. Again, thank you all so much for tuning in. Your thoughts and opinions on this subject matter, which is considered dark psychology. Narcissists often use triangulation to control. Now, for those of you that have been following me in this series, you're going to hear me use the words control and power because they go hand in hand. They go in tandem with this tactic and all of these tactics that we've been discussing. To control people and situations in order to highlight, to catapult their own desires or interests by keeping everyone in their circle emotionally off balance. Again, this is key here. Keeping people off balance. And often in competition, the narcissist can control the narrative and get everyone to compete for their approval with the end goal of them avoiding rejection and further abuse. So I'm going to play a quick clip that outlines this a little bit further and may give you additional clarity.
Triangulation. They bring in someone else, an ex, a friend, a co-worker. Suddenly you're competing for attention you used to get freely. You start questioning yourself. Am I enough? What do they have that I don't? That's the point. While you're focused on the third person, you stop seeing who's really pulling the strings. The manipulator sits back, watches you scramble, feeds off your insecurity, because confused people are easier to control. Triangulation. They bring in someone else, an ex, a friend, a co-worker. Suddenly you're competing for attention you used to get freely. You start questioning yourself. Am I enough? What do they have that I don't? That's the point. While you're focused on the third person, you stop seeing who's really pulling the strings. The manipulator sits back, watches you scramble, feeds off your insecurity, because confused people are easier to control. Triangulation. They bring in someone else, an ex, a friend, a co-worker. Suddenly you're competing for attention you used to get freely. You start questioning yourself. Am I enough? What do they have that I don't? That's the point. While you're focused on the third person, you stop seeing who's really pulling the strings. The manipulator sits back, watches you scramble, feeds off your insecurity, because confused people are easier to control.
If you've been watching and, again, doing your research, you will understand that narcissists and manipulators, they use several different tactics, and you'll hear me say they dig into their bag, their arsenal, It's an insidious and painful emotional dynamic that oftentimes, according to research, will trigger your insecurities. I believe a lot of people at some point in time in their life that they felt the brunt of being made to feel insecure. And again, as I've mentioned in previous videos in this series, the psychology of manipulation, the goal is to control and have power over others. Oftentimes, when you're caught up in this web, and it is indeed a web, whether it's a love relationship, and we'll discuss that at a later time, or if it's between friends. It's something that has to be discussed and understood. This can happen whether you're at work, if you're around friends. I think that's very difficult, especially when the dynamic is relating to friendships. Family members, that too can be very, very difficult to navigate. The family dynamic and friendships, according to research, that's the dynamic where these tactics, this particular tactic, you're often made to feel like you're not good enough and that you have to strive hard enough to gain the approval. Again, you'll hear that word often, approval, or that love. So we're going to listen to another clip and some more information.
It's a psychological sleight of hand. Someone pulls in a third party, a friend, family member, even a stranger, to pressure, guilt, or destabilize you. It's a psychological sleight of hand. Someone pulls in a third party, a friend, family member, even a stranger, to pressure, guilt, or destabilize you. It's a psychological sleight of hand. Someone pulls in a third party, a friend, family member, even a stranger, to pressure, guilt, or destabilize you.
Again, that's key. Bringing in that third person. And I want you all to understand that it brings in the third person, a third person. Ask a Now, I'm going to ask a question, and you don't have to respond in the comments, but it's just something I want you to think about as it relates to this tactic. Have you ever felt someone bringing in a third person to your relationship to control or manipulate you? Just think about it for a moment. You're having a disagreement, an issue with another person. It's just you and that other person. But then suddenly, a third person is brought into that dynamic. If so, that is or could be triangulation, a tactic that uses comparisons. Yes, comparisons. Comparing you to that other person, especially in a love relationship. Oftentimes, one will bring in the ex to team up on the individual or subject being triangulated. Or perhaps you've been the butt of a rumor to destabilize and keep you feeling, or perhaps highlight your existing insecurities. Let's listen to another quick clip.
It's like emotional chess, except you're the piece being moved. The manipulator brings in another person, maybe a friend, a family member, or even an ex, to make you feel wrong, guilty, or small. You'll hear things like, even your sister thinks you overreact, or my ex never had a problem with this. The real goal is to make you doubt yourself and fight for their approval. Even when you know what's happening, it still hurts. Why? Because your brain is wired for connection. When you feel outnumbered, your nervous system panics. It thinks rejection is danger. Imagine your partner argues with you, then says, my mom thinks you're too sensitive. Now it's not just a fight, it's a performance for an invisible audience.
Your thoughts and opinions on that clip. Again, the key here is bringing in that third person. Let's listen to this one more time for review.
Triangulation. They bring in someone else, an ex, a friend, a co-worker. Suddenly you're competing for attention you used to get freely. You start questioning yourself. Am I enough? What do they have that I don't? That's the point. While you're focused on the third person, you stop seeing who's really pulling the strings. The manipulator sits back, watches you scramble, feeds off your insecurity, because confused people are easier to control. Triangulation. They bring in someone else, an ex, a friend, a co-worker. Suddenly you're competing for attention you used to get freely. You start questioning yourself. Am I enough? What do they have that I don't? That's the point. While you're focused on the third person, you stop seeing who's really pulling the strings. The manipulator sits back, watches you scramble, feeds off your insecurity, because confused people are easier to control.
Narcissist. Let's get back to the narcissist and this dynamic. Narcissists, according to research, they absolutely love bombing, gaslighting, manipulating, and triangulation, especially in relationships, whether they're love relationships, friendships, or the family dynamic. And according to research and observations and conversations with others, sometimes it can drive you or at least make you feel as though you're going crazy. It makes you question why someone who says that they love you or care about you would triangulate. Oftentimes, the mere presence of another in a relationship that is meant to be just the two of you, monogamous, is already triangulating. Why? Why does a narcissist triangulate? Let's listen to another clip.
It's a psychological sleight of hand. Someone pulls in a third party, a friend, family member, even a stranger, to pressure, guilt, or destabilize you. It's a psychological sleight of hand. Someone pulls in a third party, a friend, family member, even a stranger, to pressure, guilt, or destabilize you.
Now, to bring in a stranger, that is, to me, extremely extreme. But for the narcissist, for the manipulator, they will do whatever it takes to what? What are the two words we've been highlighting? To exhibit power and control over you. According to research, once you understand, and understanding and identifying ways to cope will be in part 2 after we complete each of these topics. But again, this is just for educational purposes only. If you feel as though you are experiencing this dynamic or the others that we've covered, please reach out to a medical professional for advice and anything else that is needed to help you be healthy or healthier. But make sure that you are in a safe place. Again, safety first. Now, once you understand the advantages that the narcissist and toxic people have, and keeping options open, that's key as well. Keeping options open. You might be in a better way or have more clarity as to how they actually view that relationship. And it may make it easier to decide whether or not you wish, you the listener, if you desire to continue on and in a relationship with a manipulator, a narcissist, who uses several different tactics to include, as I've mentioned, gaslighting, love bombing, guilt tripping, and triangulation. I thank you so much for tuning in to this latest video as we go through the psychology of manipulation. Today we discussed triangulation. I look forward to your comments as we continue this video series, The Psychology of Manipulation. Again, just a reminder of this particular video.
There's a manipulation tactic narcissists use that most people never recognize because it never looks like manipulation. It's called triangulation.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the topic of today, triangulation. Until next video, please be safe, be well, and you know the rest. Be healthier. Bye-bye for now.